Hi everyone. Today I'm sharing with you all many of the add-ons from the February Hero Arts release. This release for this month is filled with love and peace from the monthly hero to the actual add-ons. Here is the Groovy window. We then have the dove and olive branch die. We have this beautiful peacock here. Then we have the Cosmos and Lavenders stamp and dies that go with that. And I absolutely love the florals. We also have this Peace and Love set. So this is the stamp, and then we have the die that will die cut out the heart and the sayings, as well as the circle. Next, I'm grabbing the Sending Peace 3x4 stamp set with these sentiments that you can stamp or create like backgrounds with. We have this Peace Daisy stencil as well as this Words of Peace bold prints. So I'm just going to stamp this up to show you what it looks like, but it is filled with the word peace in different languages, and there are different little fonts in this bold prints stamp. But it's perfect for background stamping and adding those subtle details to your project. All right, moving right along, let's make a fun mixed medium background. I'm going to be using this Peace and Love stamp set along with that Peace Daisy stencil and the bold prints that I just showed. I am grabbing the butterfly palette of reactive inks that I received in a My Monthly Hero kit maybe last year, but all of the colors can be purchased separately. So if I'm not mistaken, that color is grape slush. Then we have taffy, creamsicle, lemon drop, key lime fizz, and then I'm adding in splash as well as pool party. I have added those colors on to some Luxe watercolor paper from Hero Arts, and I'm just going to add some water onto my brush, and we are going to fill in all of the spaces and blend these colors together. It does take some time and patience to not only get these colors blended, but to blend them the right amount. I didn't want too much of one color, so I did have to go in and add some color from the ink pads here and there. I also took my heat gun and dried my card panel in between adding on more ink from each ink pad because I didn't want to ruin my ink pads or mix too many colors on the pad of each ink pad color. But don't be afraid to play if you try this method. I just had some fun with it. I would dab off the water. I may heat it back up, but I do go in and add ink, take away, just to achieve the look that I'm going for. Once I think my panel is dry, I do grab my stamps and I also bring over the stencil. I'm also going to grab some hero wax in the white as well as the black, and I'm going to be adding those on to add more texture and color to this card panel. So grabbing the Peace Daisy stencil, we are going to add in some of the black hero wax, which is a bit intimidating. I was just having fun doing a bit of creative play, but if you are intimidated by adding black to your work surface because it can be covered up, you may want to go with white or gold first because you can layer on top of that better. Using my palette knife, I carefully scrape a bit of that hero wax and add it onto my stencil, trying to be careful not to move it. I should have taped it down, but I just held it in place and try not to move it. I'm satisfied with everything. I hit it with my heat gun and then I move on to adding a little bit of unicorn pigment ink to the bold prints stamp, and I am going to stamp over this card panel to add a little bit of subtlety on top of this watercolored panel, break up some of these colors and create little voids. I make sure it goes over the hero wax as well, but because this is pigment ink and I did not heat set it yet, it will um lift, especially on top of the wax. But once you heat set everything, it should stay in place. Now I'm using that Love and Peace stamp set, and I'm just going to add some details to the back, but I don't want them to completely stand out. So I'm just pressing my stamp using some taffy ink to add a faint impression on the page. I use different sentiments from this set just to give it more of a random look. I also go in with various colors that I use for the background. So this time I went in with Pool Party. I'm going to do something in Splash. And I am not worried about my impression being perfect because I want this to look very um, natural. So I am good with this. Next, I'm going to grab my stencil back out and we are going to pull back out our unicorn ink. I am going over this panel again, adding more flowers using that unicorn ink, and I'm pressing it onto the panel. Just as a reminder, this is pigment ink, so it is not going to fully stay in place. There will be some lifting until I go in and actually heat set it. This small cube of the unicorn pigment is included in this month's My Monthly Hero for February 2024. So if you would like to grab it, you should be sure to order the kit. You will also receive a stamp set similar to this, but smaller in size, and it does not include any dies for the little stamp set that's like this one. So if you purchase this add-on and have the My Monthly Hero kit, you should be able to use those dies for the My Monthly Hero premium add-on stamp set that comes in that one. All right, so now I am satisfied with everything, and we are going to move on to adding even more layers. Again, I have not heat set it, so there is some lifting of my pigment ink, but I'm going to grab my collage transfers, and this is like the map. To transfer down a bit to be able to work with it a little bit easier, but I wanted to have the transfers kind of opposite one another, and you'll see it does get stuck to my workplace, so I will have to clean that up later. But I just burnish the rub on. Whatever transfers, whatever doesn't. I'm not too upset about anything, and then I just fold over any excess, and I repeat that process again. Once that is completed, I grab my stamps and add more sentiments. So this time I'm using the circle sentiment, and I'm just going to stamp that on top of the transfers to, add a little bit more dimension and not have everything look like it's actually under the transfer. So that is what you see me doing here. I do grab my gold hero paste instead of my hero wax, and I go in and add that on to the stencil. It does give a different texture to this. The hero wax, I think, is a bit thicker of a consistency, but I mean, the look is about the same. It's just dependent on what you want to work with. But this is how my background turned out. And once I completed this, I did go back and I just heat embossed the sentiment and cut it out using the heart die, and that this is how my card looks. I also created another card very similar in the process using a larger heart from the box of chocolates heart die by Hero Arts. That is the heart that I used there, and I also heat embossed with some white ink, and I added clear enamel gems to that. All right, guys, so thank you so much for joining me today. I hope you go and check out this month's Hero Arts release. It's full of groovy love and peace. Thank you so much for watching, and have a great day.